Marcus Brown here today with ChessFrog OmniVersity. Thank you again for joining us today. Uh, it's with some sadness, if you have not heard, that I bring you the news that Mr. or Councilman Quincy Murphy passed away over the weekend. It is in his honor that we read the following poem from our Black History Month collection, If We Must Die by Claude McKay. If we must die, let it be not like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave. And for their thousand blows, deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave, like men will face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. If we must die. Claude McKay. We've lost two city councilmen in a short period of time. Mr. Murphy and Mr. Mays. These are people that spoke for the public, spoke for the people. We need more voices out there to speak on our side and to speak for us. Right now, there is a vacancy. I want to offer condolences to Mr. Quincy Murphy's family and also again to the Mays family. Uh, we have appreciated the service that your men gave this city. They should be honored and have streets named after them or parks named after them, or their efforts should be supported, whether it be all the grant work that Mr. Murphy did in the third ward or the efforts to bring voice to the first ward that Mr. Mays made. We need to honor these people who served us, and we need to make sure that their mission is not forgotten and that their memory is held dear. I want to thank Mr. Murphy and thank Mr. Mays for their efforts to push this city forward. Back to our show. Today, I want to give props out to city council members and explain a little bit about what's going to happen right now. Recently, we saw the passing of Councilman Mays, and what had to happen was they had to put an interim council member in place. The same thing is going to happen in this situation. An interim council member will be named or selected by the powers that be. We need to be careful that they're not just giving to somebody that serves them, but somebody that serves the public. So go back about 40 seconds when you start to talk about interim. Right now, we have an interim council member, and that interim council member that's going to be selected by the powers that be. It'll probably be a combination of the city council and the mayor that works out who's going to replace Mr. Murphy for a short period of time. After that, there has to be an election that's held. Normally, the person that's selected is the person chosen, but we need to start watching carefully who they put before us to serve us. Sometimes they might be serving their own interest. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I want to stay apolitical. That means I don't want to get involved in the hoopla and the melee of the micro whatever, but I just want to make sure that people in the third ward have a voice of power and select a voice that's going to represent them and not the interests of other political parties or other people. The person selected should have an interest and love for the third ward and making sure that the third ward gets what they need. In other news, what's going on? We're still trying to get people registered to vote. It is true that for the presidential election, your vote don't mean nothing. It is the electoral college that will be selecting selecting between those two people. But for positions like governor, mayor, senator, congressman, judge, whatever, we do need your votes. I have been trying to push, and I've talked to a few people already about creating an artificial ballot. What do I mean by the artificial ballot? Sometimes you get mailers in the mail saying, this is the judge for the Republicans, this is the judge for the Democrats, this is this, that, bop, 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 whatever. When you get to vote, you go inside of a booth and there's a big piece of paper there that tells you to select A or select B, select this, that, and other thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I get down to some of the smaller elections and I don't know either one of the candidates. What I am pushing for is that before this election occurs, everyone should have a newspaper printed or an online version of the actual ballot so they can see what they're going to be making their decisions on. It's one thing if I tell you to vote for person A or person B. It's another thing when you have the actual ballot in front of you so you can practice your vote, making sure you don't make errors. Sometimes they tell you to vote for all one party, and you be like, but what if I don't like this one person in the party? Sometimes they'll tell you to vote, split, do this, that, and other thing. Sometimes you will lose your right to vote if you select too many candidates in one area versus another. There should be a green colored ballot. The ballot is normally white and black. They should have a test ballot that comes out in pink or green or whatever color people want to choose so that people can know what they're going to be looking at and have a chance to practice or even take with them their ballot sheet of who they want to vote for. We're not allowed to do real research while we're voting. You can't just take out your phone and say, I don't know if I want to vote for Judge Campbell or Judge Hungry Man. I don't know. There are names on there. And I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I've done the silly thing and say, well, I got a cousin named Johnson. I'm going to check off on Johnson. I got a friend named Respucia. I'm going to check off on Respucia. We should be going inside the ballot more cognizant, more intelligent, more prepared. Because some of these small little elections add up to big elections. When you send in a judge and that judge is a hanging judge and that judge gives high bails, then you're really setting yourself up. Do research on your candidates, and I'll keep pushing for an actual ballot to come out so people can have a practice ballot to take with them into the booth. It don't make any sense for us to be hounded by all these commercials, but they can't afford to give us an artificial ballot to work from. All right, what's going on right now? It is September. It is Latino Heritage Month. Big shout out to our brothers and sisters from south of the border, north of the border, because we all know that parts of Arizona and California are really parts of Mexico. Big shout out Thank you for all the contributions that Latino, Latinx, Latina Americans have made to our society. What else is on and popping right now? Right here in Flint, you got a lot of things about to go on as far as different concerts, different social events, different things happen at churches. We're going to be announcing where you can find Trunk or Treat in the coming weeks. We're hoping to have some guests on here from City Council and from some other areas on the show to help us and help you Flintites, Flintstones, Flinties get a better understanding of the world you live in. In the meantime, in between time, what's going on? I'd like it if you can give us a call at 248 820 5053, or if you can hit us up on Facebook and let's find out what you want to talk about, Flint. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of different opportunities going on. Right now, you got homecoming about to pop. You got kids in school for their first month. Have you checked in with their teacher yet? If you are a parent with a child in school, you should have at least met some of your children's teacher. Right now, you got to remember, beginning of the school year, your child has an A from Jump Street. It's up to you to maintain that A. If you're not doing homework or if your kids are not bringing homework and stuff back home from school, then you need to be on top of them, on tight on them, if that's your goal for them. We got to work this out for ourselves, and we can't expect others to do it for us. Our children are our concern. Just because there's a school in place don't mean that school gonna do right by them. Sometimes you got to make that school do right by them. And by doing that, that means you got to be a part of their education. They're what, 8 months in the school year, 8 9 months in the school year. You can visit the school at least once a month, check in with their teachers, check in with their peers, and see what's going on with your child. In other news, we are less than 45 days away from picking or semi picking another candidate for the presidency of the United States. There's a lot going on right now that might be convoluting this effort. I'm, you know where I'm voting, but I would say this: I'm still waiting for that speech. And so far, I hear Kamala, but she hasn't given that speech to motivate people. If you remember about 10, 20 years ago when Obama was running, he was a wordsmith and he had a way with words that motivated people and made them listen. He had that Martin Luther thing, preacher man thing going on where he had the rhythm, the rhyme, the time, and he was so sublime that he sounded sexy when he spoke to the people. I'm waiting for Kamala to come out with that speech that says, hey, this election is about you as Americans and what you want for the next 4 years. I'm waiting for that speech where she brings people together and galvanizes the electorate. I know where I'm voting, but she needs to do this, or somebody needs to do some great writing for her so she can write this speech, do this speech that moves the crowd. Right? We know that Trump is mostly about sound bites. We know he's mostly about saying something and getting people to react. We need to move beyond that. We need to get to a higher politics. We need to get to a greater love of our nation, a greater love of our people to say, you know what? Just because it sounded good don't mean I need to go for it. Women, how many times has a man sounded good, but then you checked and looked deeper? Men, how many times did a woman look good, but then you had to check deeper, like, ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, I dodged a bullet there. We need to be doing the same things that we do in our personal lives with our political lives. I'm looking for a call at 248-820-5053. I'm looking for somebody to hit us up on Facebook. But in the meantime, in between times, good people, I got something to tell you about. There's a restaurant called Taste Buds located on the corner of Court and Dort, the southeast corner of Court and Dort, right up in there next to, right up in there next to the chiropractor. My producer's telling me he sent me the address. But my man, RJ, is in there frying fish, frying chicken, frying salmon, got the cold. Not sure if people are listening or not. Another shout going out to my man RJ over at Taste Buds on the corner of South Dort and Court Street. I know there's construction over there, but he's in the southeast corner near the chiropractor. Go past the pawn shop, go past the dispensary, look out for the potholes in the driveway. His food is worth going there for. So, my man RJ, holla holla. Thanks for the hookup today. I got me some catfish. I got me some chicken. I'm gonna save some of it for dinner, but I ate most of it, trying to hide from my wife. All right. What other topics we got on Jam today? It is September. Kids have just started back to school. The weather's supposed to be changing, but the weather's been very nice lately. It has been beautiful. I don't even feel that normal autumn chill yet, but I know it's coming. Predictions say that this is one of those El Nino, La Nina years where the winter is supposed to be terribly bitter, but we're not supposed to get that much precipitation. I'm personally, I don't know what's going on with the world because I tell you, when I was a kid, we got snow and I got paid. We used to go outside with a snow shovel and get paid down in Detroit. I remember when I first started my family, we got snow in Lansing. My kids got paid. Last couple of years, I barely seen any snow, and I feel sorry for my homie with the plow truck because as soon as he gets his plow truck fixed, we have one of those winters when it only snows once. I don't know if that means there's global warming going on or global cooling or whatever they want to call it, but something ain't fitting right. And I don't appreciate not getting my snow when I want it. And sometimes I still do get hypocritical and get pissed when we get too much snow. But that ain't the point. We got elections coming up. We need people out there to go and vote. We've also had a few situations, and we might be talking about this in the coming future, where we had some overstep by law enforcement. Yeah, they starting to do that one thing again. We would call on Black Lives Matters, but hey, I would love to have them on the show so we can discuss things with them. But right now, we got police overstepping their boundaries when it comes to dealing with the public and dealing with certain people. Last week, I spent a good part of the Mic check one. Are we live? Are we on air? Are we live? Are we on air? Check one. Check two. Giving out the phone number 248-820-5053. We're on Facebook. Out of the Mud Productions. My man George Grundy working the machines, working the cameras. Are we live? Are we on air yet? All right. Apologies for the technical difficulties. But to return to what I was saying, we need to have a discussion about police overstep. It kind of hurt my feelings to see this mother of five in jail because a cop got his feelings hurt. These people went inside this woman's house, tried to fight the husband. They couldn't get nothing on the husband, but they had a charge over 12 years old. This young lady was 16 years old, had beef with her mother, and they're trying to hold a charge where the statute of limitations has definitely run out, and they took her to jail away from her five kids. Do you think they really cared about those five kids in the house? Or is it more about them having their egos hurt because they were wrong for busting inside these people's house flashing flashlights? If it was white folks, they would have knocked politely before entering. If it was other folks, they would have did things differently. But since these are people that are not wealthy, probably don't have access to a lawyer like other people do, these officers felt free to do the stuff they're doing. If I have your ID and I put you in custody, that ID should still be in custody with you or me. For this woman to lose her ID, this is one of the little petty things cops do. They'll steal your ID and throw it away or do little funky things like that. But if they had your ID when they arrested you, that ID should still be in your custody when you at the county. If the county ain't got it and they ran your ID, then somebody let's get the detective on it and say, hey, you got this woman's ID, give it back to her. They're putting this family through a lot of ordeals. Uh, Give us a call at 248-820-5053 if you got comments or thoughts about how this person can deal with this or know someone who's willing to advocate on their behalf. What else is going on? We already talked about the loss of Mr. Quincy Murphy.
Tara Lisa McBride said, you have made a very powerful statement. Some schools don't even bother to report kids missing too many days of school, and no one is doing anything about the parent not sending kids to school.
Who was the writer? Miss McBride, we appreciate your comment. This is September. If you have goals for your child succeeding in school this year, you should have checked in with your with at least one of your teachers. I don't know if you got to send an email. I don't know if you want to make a phone call. I don't know if you want to visit, but this person is basically parentis and loci, which means they are in charge of your child for 8 hours a day. That teacher might see your child more than you see your child if you work. I want you to think about that. That child spends 8 hours with this teacher. You should be finding out what this teacher is about, finding out what your child is doing during the day. If your child goes to school, comes home, and then you work and they're sleeping most of the time, this person at the school is seeing your child more than you. I put a challenge to every parent out there to make sure they go and step in and visit the teacher, ask them how your child is doing. I put a challenge to every parent out there to ask your child, hey, how was school today? What did you learn today? Ask your child those simple questions. Hey, what happened at school today? What's going on? If you make that a regular practice, your child will start sharing with you. Initially, they're like, nothing, 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 nothing. But then they're going to start talking with you. Well, such and such happened with this girl and this, that, and other thing. If we don't develop that communication with our child now, when do you expect to develop it? When they're 30 years old and got their own kids? That child doing exactly what you did. And you doing exactly what I did, which is not communicating with them. We need to be communicating with our children. We need to have had contact with their school at least one time. I don't agree with the current public school educational system, but if our child is spending time there, we need to be having contact with them to make sure that we're on the same page in some way, shape, or form. A lot of kids get lost and swept under the doorstep when they realize nobody's watching or nobody cares. Show your child you care. Have you told your child you love them today? Sometimes cooking them breakfast, putting clothes on their back, that means a lot. But actually using the words, hey, baby, I love you. Hey, baby, I want you to do great things. Hey, child, I believe in you. Our children need to hear that positive reaffirmation from us. They need to hear things from us that encourage them to move forward and to do great things. Some kids can live without it, and some kids do great things without it. But isn't it better just to tell your child you love them? What does it hurt? Who have you told you loved today? Did you call your parent, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your child? Everybody out there, my challenge to you is tell somebody you love them. I don't care if it's your spouse right there next to you, your next door neighbor, whoever. We need more love in the world, especially with the craziness that's going on. In the news, man, oh man, let me go ahead and bring it up. I see Puffy and R. Kelly sitting in the jail cell singing, Thank Heaven for Little Girls. You can't see the remix of that. Come on, Grundy. You don't see the remix? I think it'll be a jam. People love that sick stuff, especially when they can try and disacknowledge that there's sickness going on. People know that there's a couch in Hollywood. People know that Weinstein was using it. People know that Puffy was exploiting his position, and nothing has been proven. Everything is alleged. But 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Come on now. 1,000 bottles of baby oil? That's more than slip sliding away. There's something going on deep. And yes, we know that Puffy is a child of not Luca Brasi. What's his name? Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas, buddy. But anyway, my producer is just ashamed of me right now. But we're gonna let that slide. All right. If you want to holler about Puffy, call us at 248-820-5053. Next week, we're hoping to have one of our city council members come in and explain to us the process for replacing Councilman Quincy Murphy. He recently went through it because Mr. Alameen, is the replacement for Councilman Mays, who passed away this year. If I was a councilman right now, I'd definitely be going to get a checkup to make sure that they're not putting something in my water or elsewhere. All right. Still looking for that call, 248-820-5053. You can hit us up also on Facebook. We appreciate any comments. We will respond to most comments if they're not ignorant. All right. With that being said, if we don't hear too much, we might sign off soon. And I have another poem. We started off with If We Must Die in honor of the great and honorable Mr. Murphy. We're going to end today with We Wear the Mask by Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Still looking for that call in. All right. On that note, I want to thank everybody for chiming in. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And we close with We Wear the Mask by Paul Lawrence Dunbar. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us. We wear the mask. We smile, but, O great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured soul arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the miles. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. Translation of that poem. There are times when we have to shut the H up and keep it pushing. There are times when our boss might say something the most ignorant, upsetting things, but we need that job. So we wear that mask and we collect our checks. To all the people out there, all my brothers and sisters that wear the mask, whether you're dealing with an evil boss or a mean boss, whether you're dealing with a crazy Karen somewhere trying to tell you how to raise your kids or trying to tell you how to do this, that, other thing, keep that mask on, keep pushing. And in the words of the electrifying Mojo, hold on, tie a knot, keep hanging, and keep remembering, ain't nobody cool like you. On that note, thank you, good people. Have a great week. See you next week as I put my producer to sleep. Marcus Brown signing off. Thank you, George Grundy, for production. Thank you, Out of the Mud Productions, for hosting us. See you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.